Good evening, everyone. I'm Brian Yacono. Amanda Hill is off tonight. Right now, officials with Portland Public Schools are presenting their State of the Schools address at City Hall. One of the main topics of that address is the language barrier that continues to challenge educators and the students alike. Here's News Center Maine's Raya Wooten.
In Maine's largest and most diverse school district, leaders say there are many successes to be proud of.
Every year we have educators winning all kinds of awards and accolades. We have students who are national merit semifinalists and finalists.
But Portland Board of Public Education Chair Sarah Lentz says the territory comes with a unique set of built-in challenges.
So when we look across our student achievement data in the Portland Public Schools, we see some gaps that exist between students who are, say, multilingual and those who are born into English-speaking families.
There are more than 6,500 students in Portland's public school district. 53% of them are students of color, speaking a total of 59 different languages.
Students need to see mirrors in themselves, and there's amazing data that shows that when students of color have teachers of color, their achievement all the way through college is stronger.
Andrea Summers leads a nonprofit that works alongside the district to provide support and close the gaps. She says that while addressing inequities by providing students from various backgrounds with additional instruction and resources, teachers must also find ways to support the nearly 1 in 10 students who are experiencing homelessness and unstable housing.
We have students who arrive without proper winter clothing, without backpacks, without the real basics that they need for school.
Despite the many challenges, educators in Portland's public schools and those who support them say they're committed to making sure students within the district thrive. In Portland, Raya Wooten, News Center Maine.
The district is working alongside the nonprofit Foundation for Portland Public Schools. The goal is to implement a more culturally relevant curriculum, diversify staff, and provide additional funding to better support students who are experiencing poverty and unstable living conditions. New report came out today about Maine's workforce, and while its forecast for the future of labor in the state is not surprising, it did point out just how many of us are working more than one job to get ahead financially or just get by. The report from Maine's Department of Labor, called the Labor Market Dynamics in Maine, says as a whole, the number of jobs will not be going up in the next decade, and the number of people in the workforce will likely dip even as the population rises. The reason, more baby boomers retiring, and productivity of those who are working is expected to keep rising. That's the future. But the report also sheds light on Maine's current workforce. It says that nearly 8% of Mainers are holding down more than one job, and that those in education, leisure and hospitality, and retail are most likely to have a second or third job, because those are fields in which the average earnings are well below the average pay of people who have just one job, about $62,000 a year. Another thing of note about that report, most people got that second job somewhere in the healthcare and social assistance sector, closely followed by the more traditional leisure and hospitality and retail sectors. Well, what began as a case of kids running away from a youth center turned into an ICE rescue near Ellsworth over the weekend. It was just before noontime Sunday. The fire alarm at the Kids Peace residential facility was set off. Turned out there was no fire. About a half an hour later, police got a report that 4 juveniles from Kids Peace, all of them 12 years old, were missing. It didn't take authorities long to find them, though, out on the ice of near Graham Lake. One of those boys had fallen through about 3/4 of a mile from shore. Rescuers used canoes to bring them back. 3 of the boys were sent to the hospital with hypothermia. We have an update now on a story we brought you first about Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare offering plans in 2025 that do not cover several leading HIV medications. The Maine Bureau of Insurance announced just this afternoon the carrier has reversed its initial decision and will cover 8 HIV regimes in 2025, including Biktarvy, the most widely prescribed HIV treatment in the U.S. This decision is in response to an investigation by state insurance officials into a complaint claiming the carrier's plans discriminate against Mainers living with HIV. The change will mean all Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare members who purchase insurance through CoverMe.gov and Harvard Pilgrim members covered under a small employer plan will have access to these drugs.
This is a bigger issue as far as medication coverage and affordable health care, and it's really important that we continue to advocate for adequate care for people who are experiencing chronic health conditions.
The decision impacts about 100 Harvard Pilgrim healthcare plan members in Maine. We'll have much more information from the Maine Bureau of Insurance on our website and the News Center Maine app. Well, communities all across Maine have been grappling with the challenges created by the state's housing shortage. In Belfast, the city is working to build up its housing supply and also cut the ribbon on its latest project. News Center Maine's Christian Harsa has more.
What happened when this one
Developers and community leaders gathering here at Congress Square Gardens to celebrate Belfast's newest affordable housing project.
It's great to see it in person, to see the people that have been involved with it, and to see the people that are getting to live here now.
Laura Reading managed the project planning for these 48 units, 36 of which are for those making 60% or less of the median area income, which in Belfast comes to $32,000 annually for a one-person household.
And then there's a building in the back which is serving up to 80% of area median income.
Kevin Bunker's company, Developers Collaborative, owns this housing development, and the rear building falls under the category of workforce housing. Catering to this demographic helps remedy a current problem, according to Mark Wiesendonger with Maine Housing.
One of the biggest problems we're having is housing the laborers who are building the housing.
Belfast's economic director Thomas Kittredge estimates that the city will need hundreds more homes to meet current demand.
Not having enough quality housing for workers is going to pose an issue for further economic development.
This need is something politicians see and are putting money towards.
It's on both sides of the aisle. For the first time in our 55-year history, we're getting direct appropriations from the state.
Seeing the final product makes up for many hours of work, according to Reading, and the payoff is motivation for future projects.
As much work as they take, it's completely worth it.
While future project specifics aren't public yet, city officials are positive that this housing project won't be the last. In Belfast, Christian Harsa, News Center, Maine.
When we come back here at 6, why cows in Maine are eating seaweed from Hawaii. Research has shown that adding an unusual additive to livestock feed has the potential to be a robust fix for the planet. Red seaweed produced in Hawaii can reduce methane emissions by up to 80%. Vivian Lee tells us about a study at the University of New Hampshire that aims to find the most stable way farmers can use the product to feed their cattle in Maine's changing climate.